I am Saeed Alhebsi. I am from Ministry of Human Resource and Emiratisation, part of the government, federal government of UAE. My role in the government is AI advisory in the Undersecretary Office, project manager. Plus, I already did my graduation from Oxford in AI. I am part of the consultant panel in the UAE government for AI and implementation of the fourth industrial revolution of technologies.
One of the initiatives we've begun, including recently, is an educational initiative with the executives of your ministry to help educate them about blockchain technology. Mohammed and I just did the first session recently. Tell us why you think it's important that executives in an agency like yours learn about blockchain technology, and what are you trying to accomplish?
Jamie, in the first, that we will talk about how we start as a government to implement this fourth institution. It is artificial intelligence, blockchain technologies. In 2018, the government of UAE announced about the strategy of blockchain technologies and AI technologies. Part of that strategy, all the ministries should learn how to adopt these technologies and how to implement these technologies in their department. 50%, but the government aiming to implement this technology, 50% from their government transaction to be in the blockchain technologies.
Got it. So it's important everyone learn about it so they can figure out how they can implement it in their own units. Ahmed, let's turn to you. You have multiple roles. Tell us about what you do and how are things going with blockchain growth, particularly in Saudi Arabia, where you live.
Good morning, Jimmy, and good morning, New York, and thank you very much for these great questions, because it's very important to understand. Mohammed has illustrated how things working in the large scale. Of course, just a quick introduction. My name is Ahmed Ibrahim Yousif. I'm the co-founder of Blackstone and taking a new role in the BSV initiative for the government. Blockchain is very unique in its the way it's taking transition in Middle East. And as also it's mentioned here many times that most of the technology go through three progresses. The garage stage, where the innovators working by their hand and putting things together, and then the enterprise level take it to the next level, and then government come and regulate and use. But blockchain in Middle East has a little bit of more organic progress in the nature that government is trying to adopt this new technology, this new phenomena. So in Saudi Arabia in general, that there is a lot of successful stories in the blockchain space when it comes to, for example, SEMA is a Saudi Arabia monetary authority that using the blockchain for transaction and reconciliations and things like that. So it's very important technology, and it's taking its ways into the government offices and government uses and government transactions. And it's very interesting to see Middle East is taking the lead when it comes to this technology.
Yeah, we got to start catching up here in the U.S. We're now going to bring on screen, we have him now, our remote panelist. He is the co-founder and chief business development officer of a company called Dominium Blockchain Solutions, and his name is Mohammed Ibrahim Jega.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to see you too, Jimmy.
Oh, always. You always make me smile, Mohammed. Tell us about Dominium and how it's working with government agencies on their blockchain and data applications and projects, including with BSV now.
Yeah, Dominium Blockchain Solution is a blockchain as a service company trying to see how we can get to solve African problem using blockchain by optimizing the services and also improving the efficiency. We have a couple of products that we launched in terms of the potentials around cargo tracking, around land registry, around verification system, around identity management system. Currently, one of our pioneer projects, which is the land registry solution, which we implemented in Nigeria, trying to see how we can be able to digitize and optimize land system in Africa, and also the cargo tracking solution to be able to block leakages in the cargo space, with which we've implemented also. Currently, we're focusing on how do we help manage credential verification process, because Africa has a lot of problem in terms of validating and also verifying credential system. So we launched a very similar solution that it will help build. It has a three-sided marketplace designed to bridge an online and also offline worlds by sharing verifiable documents between individuals, institutions, and also third-party verifiers. This is intended to tackle the problem of widespread document forgery and lower cost of verifying documents. By doing this, we're treating the verification of documents with a unique transaction on the BSV blockchain and generating verifiable URLs to these credentials using the transaction's ID.
I know you have a land title registry solution that you have worked on. You have a cargo tracking solution called Dominium Marine, which I believe is deployed in the country of Sierra Leone. Is that correct? And then now you've just are launching this document verification system, including for academic credentials, which we'll talk about. And I believe you've launched it with, is it Bayes University in Nigeria?
Because we're collaborating with the university to launch a blockchain lab, which we're about to launch in the next couple of weeks. And we're using the use case to be able to help use Bayes as a baseline for the launch pad for this credential verification solution. And that will help us now approach the Nigerian government and talk to them, promoting and also blocking the leakages in terms of the forgery of credential management system.
Mohammed, let's turn to you. Tell us more about the relationship we're building with Saeed's ministry and what you look to expect, a little bit more in the future.
To start with, again, I mentioned in my keynote two things: top-down approach, and then the second one was that awareness precedes the change. Both these things were very crucial when we started our journey with the Ministry of Human Resource and Emiratisation. We started the relationship building with the top leadership to get the buy-in first, and that's one of the strong reasons why Middle East has a strong adoption, because everything is happening through a top-down approach. So we were kind enough to have a meeting with His Excellency Undersecretary. He is like a sort of a deputy minister, and from that point onwards, he was the person who created a cascade effect within the other functionalities like director training, director IT, to proceed with the initiatives we are now having with them. So we had then the relationship with the director training. With that, we are now coming up to this point that we are doing the complete ministry-wide awareness and training sessions, so that they become aware, they can identify the right use cases for the application of blockchain. And from this point onwards, where we are heading is the point will come to that they will need some implementation partners, and we are going to be there with them to do that implementation, first at the POC level, and then taking it to the production grade.
Blockchain use in government is very much about data processes and making data more efficient. What are some areas where you're already thinking about trying to help Saeed's ministry make their data more efficiently used?
Automation of the workflow is very important beside the data security and integrity. They are dealing with a very critical workflow, contracts, employee contracts, and within UAE, it's around 83% people are coming as an expats.
Right.
And when you are dealing with so much of a expat, you have to have a very strong contract base, both at the private level, on the company level, and also they have to safeguard the interest of the employer and employee. So the smart contracts in future can enable them to do these contracts between the employer and employee, and also the third party is itself the government or their ministry. So they can use this workflow automation as well, which will facilitate a lot for all the ecosystem. So beside the record keeping, we see that as a very strong use case.
Saeed, what other data uses do you foresee helping your ministry with blockchain, such as, for example, academic credential certification, which I know is a big issue in a lot of territories? Can you give us any other examples?
Sure, Jimmy. Actually, there's always start with knowledge. And we as a government, we're taking always the knowledge as a serious to take a plan and take action for it. We as a ministry, as Mr. Mohammed mentioned, we have almost 5 million labor or employee in the UAE, and we have more than 500,000 companies institute in the UAE. We are taking care as a ministry of all of this, and we are saving the labor law for the labor itself also. So these big data and this we need to how to put it in the blockchain and facilitate everyone business in the and create ecosystem in the economic environment in UAE. That's why we have start to have a knowledge partner like BSV and to take this initiative to take the awareness from the executive until the lower employee in our ministry to start from there itself.
We talked a little bit about the Emeritization program, but for people who are not familiar with it, it's a very important function for the country because it's that part of the ministry that's responsible for helping the career development, essentially, of native Emiratis. Tell us about that part of the program because it's obviously a key part of your ministry's strong influence in the country. And how do you think better data applications through blockchain can help that?
Actually, we will come back, start from the static systems. Also, as a ministry, we are taking care of Emiratisation program. Emiratisation program is meaning how to empower the local into the private sector companies. So here where we have to build and blockchain technologies, how to adapt and to how to secure, to have very clear data, use these cases and use this data to actually fit and have the right solution to implement it and to force this local into this private sector.
Okay. Ahmed, let's go to you and let's focus on Saudi Arabia since that's where you are based and hopefully will be at soon. Where do you see the potential for use of blockchain in Saudi Arabia being most needed and what are kind of the initiatives you're driving?
This is also another great question that when it comes to the R&D in the blockchain areas, a lot of people are exploring the area of identity, exploring the healthcare, and of course, according to Illinois research blockchain initiatives, there is about 200 projects identified in the government area. The top 4 of them are not the finance. Okay. The identity, the records, and the health industry, all of those came before the finance. So the finance is kind of like the driving force behind it. So this is, I guess, encouraged a lot of enterprises to get into the business. But in reality, there's a lot of need in the government level. So one of the potentials in the region in general, and Saudi Arabia, they're exploring now the identity management as a good use case for the use of blockchain. And having a great successful story in how, I guess, having the identity verified through this COVID-19 created a need for having an accurate identity, having accurate vaccine record, so all of this is being the target by researchers and actually by POCs in the region and in Saudi Arabia in particular.
Yeah, and as you're going to talk to government agencies now as our lead for the Middle East for those types of initiatives, what are the kinds of uses you're pushing for BSV in particular?
First of all, let's see a lot of people have been talking the last couple of days in this conference about how challenging it is to introduce blockchain to governments. And it's not easy because of the whole misconceptions about this is just a finance record system. It's not. So when it comes to BSV presence, as Mohammed mentioned in his presentation, that having visibility is great and important, but also getting inside the offices and talking to people and introducing the technology the right way and having a good awareness, good technology. And another very important factor is when the government wanted to look into who can help me, they needed to, that question needed to be answered sooner. Like, okay, who can help with blockchain adoptions? If I wanted a project right now in any application, whether it's smart city, whether it's a government record or data transactions, if they wanted to implement a larger project in any type of government services, they needed somebody local that can at least give them the education edge. I think BSV is doing a great job in having the BSV Academy that's available, and also there's a lot of people in the region who start exploring that. And I've been talking to people personally, they're logged into that area.
Right. Mohammed Jega, we'll turn to you. Tell us about your experience so far integrating with the BSV blockchain, and what are any future uses of BSV that you think you might be able to deploy to your clients?
The potentials are endless, and also the experience is very interesting because we have done a lot in terms of engagement, in terms of creating awareness, and giving the need, because most of our solutions are B2G and B2B. So we engage with government, we engage with organizations to educate them now, even though blockchain has now become a word that it's not more a buzzword. They understand the advantages of blockchain, but most importantly, what we're looking at to see how we can be able to, from identity management to credential management to land title management, to be able to manage conflict, and also to cargo tracking, to central bank digital currency. These are all interesting products that have different use cases. It's been very interesting because most organizations and government are very interested about the solutions, and we need to just intensify more efforts in terms of awareness in Africa and also engagement in terms of deployment.
Saeed, obviously you've studied a lot of different blockchain and ledger systems, AI, and you've learned about BSV. I'm curious about your sort of impressions so far, especially being at this conference, about what you've learned of BSV and how it compares to the many other systems that are out there.
Actually, in the beginning, when I know about BSV, and the conference was in last March, I think, in Dubai, I'm very surprising why they don't have very clear identity in that part of area. Because where's the government as a strategic start there in that area, it is their places and their showcases to the governments and to the startup also to implement their platform and their knowledge also as a knowledge partner for the government. It will be, for me, I surprised that why they didn't have a clear tendency. Now, when we will start with Mr. Mohammed, even our undersecretary, by the way, we have talked to him regarding to the first session, what happened in our ministry. I think the attendance was more than 160 attendance as a ministry. That was very surprising, even for the undersecretary. That means there is people hungry to learn. Right. People want to get more knowledge about these technologies and how to implement it and how to create an idea around this.
Mohammed, let's talk about the project of the Sin Police, which you mentioned briefly. Can you give us more detail on how the BSV blockchain and your platform with InvoiceMate is going to be improving their data processes?
Right, we didn't touch their functional part, which was the resource management system that was already there, and it was creating a sort of a repository for them, and also bringing automation to their asset management. And their asset includes very critical assets like ammunition. They don't want them to go into the wrong hands. So there was a classic use case for blockchain. When we intervened, it was, again, a training intervention. And they figured out, yes, they can use blockchain as an add-on within their resource management system. So initially, they thought they should be going with the permission blockchain, as every government authority or entity always think that putting their data or even the hashes of their data on public blockchain will make it available to the whole world. Again, we did some orientation about that. Again, we were fortunate enough to have a right decision makers in front of us. They listened to us, and we went to the design phase, how we can add on the blockchain layer, especially the BSV blockchain layer, and what goes on chain, what will remain off chain. So all this exercise took place. My team behind me as a maid soul, we entered into this project, and they just backed me as a BSV Hub lead. And now we have already deployed, and it is under the user testing phase. And most likely they will give the user testing clearance by next week. So within the few weeks, we transformed their functional, operated already production-grade software into a blockchain-powered, which is a BSV blockchain-powered resource management system. So we will be soon seeing some live transactions happening on the BSV blockchain. From a public sector organization, which to me, I was not even planning that it will happen so soon in the Hub's history.
Fantastic, congratulations.
Thanks.
I call that a win. All right, let's go to Ahmed. Ahmed, why do you think the Middle East governments in particular are so embracing of blockchain technology, and why do you think they're moving so much faster, for example, than some countries here like in the US? And what can US entrepreneurs and companies do to help?
I love these questions because it's always take me back to the journey of the starting of the internet, how the internet started from the center and it starts spreading around the world. And I feel like blockchain is empowering the people on the edge or the countries that's not in the center. So it's going from outside rather from the center to the outside, which makes level playing field for every country that they wanted to explore in this domain. The technology is available. The means are easier. So that's why countries like in Middle East, they are eager, they are young. Just like one technology introduced, usually it's introduced by the people who are younger and healthier, and also they are wanted to try something new and things like that. So I think Middle East governments are considered younger, easier to adapt, and blockchain is bringing a lot of promising. The decentralization, it's a key in the blockchain technology, but the government wants that too, because when you're talking agency to agency, there's a lot of data transactions going on. But in reality, in a lot of countries, government agencies operate in islands. So each agency acted as the owner of this data, but when it comes
Definitely
to
true of the United States.
Exactly.
Sure.
I used to work here for a long time, so I understand that really well.
Yeah.
So what's happening in the Middle East is when things come from top to down, and the decision-making process is coming from the top. The transaction between the data is just as soon as the regulators put together a white paper or decision-making process on how this should go, things will go flawless after that. The adoptions happen a lot quicker. So when it comes to government using data and data governance in the blockchain, so Middle East has that young attitude of, okay, let's adapt this and see what it's going to bring to us. And it's always bringing the transparency and the trust that every government in the world want to try.
Yeah. Well, the governments and the systems are just newer, right? You've had nations that have risen up and built, in the last few decades, not centuries.
Exactly.
So they're much more, I think, already thinking about modernization. Saeed, let's go back to you. Obviously, you've studied AI as well, and with blockchain technology, especially on a blockchain like BSV, which is going for really huge data capacity, to be able to hold lots of different types of data from many sources. If that happens in the future, how do you foresee blockchain technology being used to help power or work with AI technologies?
Actually, as blockchain technologies, as I mentioned in the beginning, the government, they're taking very seriously. We have very clear vision from the leadership. We have very clear strategy from the government. We have the UAE Government Blockchain Council. We have Dubai Blockchain Center. Those, like, for example, Dubai Blockchain Center, they're aiming to be the first city empowered, full empowered by blockchain technologies. This is, for example, in Dubai itself. As a government, our strategic pillar in three things. First of all, that to increase our efficiency as a government. Second, we create an industry for that market. Third, that international leadership in blockchain.
Interesting. Mohammed, do you have anything else to add to that? Because I know, obviously, we've had conversations with Dr. Marwan at the Dubai Blockchain Center.
Yeah. I think before we were only discussing the initiatives. Now, with recent success with the ministry and with Sindh Police implementation and University of Sharjah's research project, we will have now tangible references. And that, to me, are the key, which we will be using, of course, to create the cascading effect, the ripple effect. And in next few months, and especially a year ahead, we are seeing a lot of success stories coming for BSV blockchain in the region. And till now, again, we were focusing on 2-3 countries because of the COVID restrictions were there for the travel reasons. again, that will open up. So in next few months and a year from now, there will be plenty to showcase. And my objective is not to come next time on stage. If not next time, the following time, I'll not be coming on stage. There will be people like Saeed and Ahmed representing different government sector, private sector, academia. They will come on stage and tell what they have already gained from BSV blockchain. That's my objective. One more like Coin Geek to be on stage and then take a back seat.
Very, very kind and gracious of you, Mohammed, but that is so much of your personal style, which I like so much. Mohammed Jega, let's turn to you. We hear so much in the blockchain world as well as in its media about how Africa is a key region for growth of blockchain and digital assets. Why do you think that is, and how do you think BSV entrepreneurs and developers all around the world can contribute, even if they're not in Africa?
There's a very huge opportunity in Africa because, as we all know, it's around collaboration and also providing a unique service. And BSV has a lot of potential because it has its own unique proposition, which centers around different use cases from e-health to land registry, to cargo tracking, to identity management, to financial services, and what have you. And we have been able to identify ourselves with our collaborators and partners to see how we can have a handshake. We've been talking to Mohammed, Salman, to see how we can be able to synergize by having a handshake, utilizing some of the potentials they have in Middle East and Asia to see some unique products that we can as well promote it in Africa, because Africa is an entrepreneur's heaven. There's so much problems to be solved using technology, and the potentials are huge for that. And Dominium, being one of the pioneers of blockchain, providing blockchain as a service solution, want to really take the lead by promoting BSV Blockchain Solutions to help address data inefficiencies and also help advance their digital transformation in Africa. Because a lot of governments are looking at how do they transform their digital transformation? How will they address their security system? How will they address their financial system? How will they address their health sector? How will they address their identity management? So we have to tactfully position ourselves to see how we can be able to communicate to this government, to these businesses, to help them to solve this problem. So what I would say is the potentials are endless, and we could just imagine, but we need to do more. We need to engage more with more interesting solutions in the BSV ecosystem so that we can all collaborate, because we are not competitors. We're all working together. And I'm happy with what we're doing with Mohammed Salman to see how we can be able to promote some of their products in Africa, and as well, they will also promote some of our products in Middle East and Asia.
That's right. You got to take your products to police departments in Africa with Mohammed Jega.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Ahmed, what can BSV entrepreneurs and developers around the world do to work with you in terms of advancing BSV initiatives and products into Saudi Arabia and other parts of the Middle East?
Well, I'm always open and welcome to any collaboration, and I would love to see real solution that targeted a specific problem. So in a lot of cases, we need to be careful not to bring a solution looking for a problem. We want a problem that we have problems that we want solution for. So we want exploration, we want R&D in this area. So any companies, I've been talking to a lot of people in the last couple of days that they wanted to come and join us in our tour into the region. Hopefully it's happening in the next month or so. So that will be the start, communication and networking with the companies. Another thing that take the chances and take opportunity and come to the region and showcase your product. Yeah. That will be another key thing, because seeing is believing. Yes. When people see your product, see your solution, and that's going to take them to the next step and make them actually touch the product and feel that this is real solution that could solve my problem. And then that's when they take blockchain adoptions a lot faster and serious. I've been talking to a lot of people in the smart city area, and that's actually the hot topics there.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Smart city,
wanted
big
to
in Saudi.
explore. I would love to see people coming forward and showcase their product in this area too.
Okay. Saeed, we'll end with you. What advice do you have to our audience watching, especially around the world of blockchain entrepreneurs, developers, about how they can best work and introduce their projects into the Middle East and help make a difference?
It is the time now in Dubai, especially because we have programs there that adapt these showcases, adapts the entrepreneur to showcases and solve our, let's say, some challenging that we as a government we have. We have something we call Dubai Program Acceleration. We have a government acceleration program also. We have our first Minister of AI. We have ministries. We have a blockchain center in Dubai, as you know, Dr. Marwan. Plus, we have blockchain strategic. So the infrastructure in that part of the area is ready to adopt all of these showcases and this, let's say, application of the blockchain technology that is. So it is very good time to attend and to be in that part of area.
All right, so you hear that? Start considering the Middle East. Let's thank our panel. It's been a really insightful conversation. I can't wait to see more BSV and blockchain growth in the Middle East. Thank you very much.
Bitcoin mining, Bitcoin wallet, blockchain, stablecoins, MetaNet, the evolution of money. Everybody is talking about Bitcoin today, but what exactly is it? Learn the basics from experts. Learn what Bitcoin is, how it works, and why it matters. Bitcoin 101, your ultimate guide to the fundamentals of blockchain.